your girl, NicNac, your favorite show host, and if I'm not yet, I will be. You are now tuned in to an episode of NicNac ChitChat, and we are talking 30 Chronicles. Stay tuned. It's your girl, NicNac. It's your girl, NicNac, and I'm so glad that you have joined me for NicNac ChitChat. You can find me every Friday, 12 to 1 Central Standard Time. That's 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we are talking about the stigmas and the pressure and the joys and everything that makes turning 30 be what it is. So, I just turned 30 yesterday. I'm still the birthday girl. Even though yesterday was my birthday, it is my birthday week, it is my birthday month, it is my birthday quarter. And I feel like I deserve that. Like, I owe that to me because it's the self-love for me, baby. Now, speaking of self-love, identity is so important. And I feel like identity is just one of those things that is so apparent when you turn 30. You know, I feel like I know who I am. And I feel like I am so happy in who I became. But there are just so many aspects and variables that had to come first before I got here. You know what I'm saying? And like, you know, I feel like a monumental point in your life when you turn 30, but I mean before turning 30, is, you know, going away to college. You know, you're finally away from your parents. You're finally away from all of your childhood friends, unless you decided to go to the same college as them. You know, there are always exceptions to the rule. You can never say all or every. But when you separate from all that you've known and all that you were taught, you have no choice but to figure out what feels most comfortable to you. You know, like what feels the best to you, what works the best for you. And then you would just have so many new experiences. You meet new people, and then they have different backgrounds, and they have different moral codes and different ethics and different ways of solving problems and making money. And you just have to figure out how you fit in this big old world. So, man, surviving 20s is not an easy thing. So if you have hit 32 and you are listening right now, if you are within ear's reach, I want you to pat yourself on the back, because turning 30 is not an easy thing to achieve. You have to get through all of the mud and come out shining on the other side. And I know that you're capable. So keep tuning in to NicNac ChitChat. I'm here to speak life into you, spill tea, spit facts. Now, I can't speak for you, but I had a very, very, very strict childhood. So I actually grew up with my dad being the chief of police. And, whew, baby, that was a doozy. So I wasn't allowed to go to sleepovers. I wasn't allowed to, like my dad did background checks on everybody. Okay, so I feel like I missed out on a lot. And, you know, that's how you kind of view it when you are not older and you're not a parent yet, and so you don't really understand where it's coming from. But so a little bit of background on me is I'm the baby of 9 children, and my dad was super duper strict on me, but he was just trying to protect me, you know. And so when I grew up and I was in my 20s, it was more so like, ooh, I can't wait to get out of the house. I cannot wait to go away to college because I want to do my own things. I'm so ready to not be in a strict environment. I want to see how I would actually react in this situation without someone breathing down my neck, you know, and telling me what I should do, what I shouldn't do, what's good to do, what's bad to do. And 20s, I feel like, are just those times for you to continue to fall over and over and over again. And you're going to scrape your knee, but that's why we have Band-Aids. You know, like I said, you have to take the good with the bad, and definitely those growing curves, those learning curves. And there's just so many options and routes that you can go. I mean, there's Greek life and student council and being a pageant girl, and there's just so much to choose from in this big life. And we only have one, and it's so short. So we always want to make the best decision, but everything always works out in the end anyway. So what you don't realize is that it's all working out in your favor regardless. So if you're listening and you are not 30 yet, just know it is going to be okay. Everything works out the way that it's supposed to, and everything happens for a reason. I'm wondering if you agree with me on that. I know for sure that in my life, as I'm looking back, I can see that everything happened for a reason, and I'm glad that it worked out that way. Okay? Okay. Now, in the workplace, it's definitely, that's a, whew, okay. I can't even get that out. Like, I just can't even begin to just make you understand how much of a struggle I've had in the workplace. And speaking for me personally, corporate sucks. Corporate sucks. Clear my throat. For you in the back, corporate sucks. I said what I said. I don't mean to be offensive. I don't want to offend you if you do work in corporate America. But for me, it just never really worked out because I feel like I was born this way. Born this way. Name that artist. I was born this way, and I love who I am, but I didn't always love who I am because I would go to these workplaces and, you know, we're checking the clock because we're here to check a bag. And so my mission was to make money, and their mission, it kind of felt like, was to judge me. And I felt like I was viewed as like, why do you talk like that? And why do you talk so much? And why this and why that? And I had no idea that when I was turning 30, I was going to be starting my radio show, NicNac ChitChat. You are tuned in. And here we are, and we're having a blast, right? But that doesn't necessarily translate in the corporate world. So you're going to have to understand that when you are finding your identity and you're molding yourself and you're creating who you want to be, that everyone around you is not necessarily going to understand that, you know? And it was just the judgmentalness for me, you know? And I could see why maybe I kind of ruffled people's feathers along the way. I feel like, you know, it's a scary thing to be bold in who you are, you know, because if you're bold in who you are and it doesn't necessarily correlate with the way that society views things, then you can feel different, and people tend to reject what they don't understand, you know. And I felt misunderstood my whole life until actually enrolled in Illinois Media School, which is where NicNac ChitChat is being hosted. So I'm so glad to be networking and meeting like-minded individuals, like-minded people who have a voice, like-minded people who want to use that voice, like-minded people who are not scared to use that voice, you know. And so I'm excited to be bringing on a lot of my Illinois Media School family so that you can get to know them as well. And I'm pretty sure that you're going to enjoy their vibe as well because, you know, not to toot my own horn, but I have good taste. I have a good taste in people, and I would say it's because I vibrate highly. And you know, I feel like when you're 30, when you're older, and you recognize who you are and your energy and your frequencies, you like your gut and your instinct will let you know like who really deserves to be around you, you know, like who really fits into your life, you know. And I'm just not accepting anything less than what I deserve anymore, as I shouldn't, you know. And I feel like there were just so many cliques and the politics in the workplace. Like, ma'am, okay, I am not running for office, okay? I am not running for city council. Why does it feel like we are so separated? Why does it feel like there just always has to be this opposition when someone is different than you? You know, it's a blessing when you find like-minded individuals who are on the same wavelength as you. But when someone is different, I feel like that's just the opportunity to be able to learn from them. You know, you have a different background than me. You have a different favorite food than me. You have a different career path that you want to take, you know. I love what I do, but you can love what you do too, even if it's in a whole different lane, and that's the thing. Everyone is in their own lane, and that's okay. And I feel like as long as everyone stays in their lane and they're respectful of the car and the next one, then we should be able to get along. We should be able to get to our destination in this life productively, successfully, while loving ourselves and loving everyone else who is not just like us, you know? And I feel like that's what's super cool about being a broadcaster, because I definitely want to connect to you, you know, you the viewer, you who is listening to me and soaking in all of my energy and learning more about me and finding the things that we have in common instead of judging why I'm different. You know? So I really, 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 really respect people who use that to their advantage. And we all have strengths and weaknesses, you know? So there's nothing wrong with being different. As a matter of fact, you should embrace that. You should embrace being different and figure out how you can give back. I give back by broadcasting, by, you know, maybe if you don't have a voice, you know, maybe I'm going to say something that you wish that you could find the guts to say, but I'm here to back you up on it, and I got you. I got your back, sis. Or bro. I got you. Just know that I got you, and I'm going to have your back every time. So make sure that you tune in to NicNac ChitChat every Friday, 12 to 1 tea time. I'm going to be spitting facts always, and I hope so much that you get something every time you tune in to an episode of NicNac ChitChat and walk away at least motivated to want to be a better person. Now, also, another hurdle that we have to get over is the cycle. Remembering that it is all a cycle. Life goes on. That's the cycle, right? So we're born into this earth, and then we're going to be gone. And then another person's going to be born, and then they're going to be gone. But in the meantime, the breakups and friendships, when they end, they feel like breakups too. Let's be honest here. Let's keep it 2 more than 98, all right? Let's keep it 100. Friendships, when you lose them, especially when you were super emotionally invested in them. I'm not talking about the friendships of the people who like take you to the club and get you messed up, and then you got to figure out how to get home on your own, and whenever you have an interview you can't find them, but then when they want to go party, they're the first person to hit your line every Friday when they clock out of work. We're not talking about those people. We're talking about like real friendships. Those can feel like breakups too. Losing jobs, quitting, firing, however you exited stage left, you know, it's a cycle. And the common denominator of the cycle is it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. You may cry, and that's okay. You may punch a wall, and that's okay too. I just hope you have insurance, but I digress. It is going to be okay. And so, and it's even okay to cry. It's okay to cry. But remember that after you cry, when you wipe your tears, something else bad is going to happen. Because life be life, and like all you have control over is you. And so if you recognize that the storm is always going to come, the storms are guaranteed to come, but the sunlight comes after. And the storms are there to water the grass, okay? And we want to be fruitful, and we want to harvest, and we want to reap, and we want to sow. So those storms are going to happen. But it's the cycle. You experience the bad part, you mourn the bad part, and then you move on to the good. And then you have that knowing in your mind that there's going to be good again. So if you remember that, then the cycle will be just so much easier to get through. And then you can focus on more productive things. Because, honey, let me tell you something. If I go through a breakup now, because I have gone through some really trashy breakups, can we just... Okay, so I just want to tell you this story really quick. So my last breakup, right? So I was in 2 relationships like I mentioned earlier. And one of them I had a marriage and a child out of, and then we ended up getting divorced. Whew, thank goodness. And then I had a boyfriend. And I don't know, I guess I would kind of think of him as a rebound because I got together with him like a year later, and they say it takes like half the time of the full relationship to actually get over the breakup. So anywho, man, our breakup was so ghetto. Like, his side chick actually came to his house and I was over his house. I've actually never ever lived with a boyfriend or anyone I was romantically involved with, so that is a Snapple fact about me. But I was over his house. His side chick pulls up, who I did not know about, by the way. And so she is calling his phone, and he's in the room, and I'm doing my hair in the bathroom. And so his phone's going off like crazy, crazy, crazy. And then the doorbell starts ringing. So I'm like, okay, it's 4 in the morning. So what's going on here? Like, I know early bird gets the worm, but who the heck is that? So I continue to do my hair because it's not my house. You know what I'm saying? It's not my house, so I'm not gonna go check the front door like it's my stuff. So he goes to the front door. He doesn't come back, and I'm waiting and I'm waiting. And I look through the window and I see a woman outside, and I'm like, oh boy. Oh boy, you know. And he and I had like gone through drama with his baby mama. And so, you know, I guess I wasn't so shocked, but I just didn't know that the situation was this severe, you know. So I went through his phone, and she had sent a text message about like wanting to hurt me. And I was like, oh no, like, I don't need to be in this type of situation. Long story short, I go to the front door to ask him, like, what is going on? Like, do I need to get my stuff and leave? Like, I don't feel safe here. I don't feel good here. I don't know who that is. Who is that? All of these thoughts going on in my mind. I open the door, and this woman bum rushes the door. He ends up tackling her. That was about the only good thing he did that day, by not allowing her to hit me. You know, and, you know, but it took me a while to get over that. But, you know, looking back on it, I had to realize that I was dating the same kind of guys, but they just had different faces. They were the same guy, but with different faces. So I had to look at me and be like, hey, I'm the common denominator. Why am I choosing guys like this? And I'm so happy to say that at 30, I'm no longer choosing men like that. Stay tuned for more of Turning 30 Chronicles. This is NicNac ChitChat on Evolution Pop. You can find me here every Friday, 12 to 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. It's your girl, NicNac, your favorite host, and if I'm not, I will be. Welcome to NicNac ChitChat, and we are talking Dirty 30 Chronicles, 30 and Thriving, however you want to name it. Your girl just turned 30 yesterday, and I feel so blessed, and I feel so excited to be in this moment and to be sharing it with you and to be talking about everything 30. The struggles of surviving your 20s to get here, the stigmas and the societal pressures of where you're supposed to be, how you should live, what you should be doing, what you should do in the future moving forward as you're 30. Now, I have a question, you know, is 30 considered old? I'm wondering for you listening out there, do you consider 30 old? Now, for me, and I think that you can relate to this, when I was growing up, I thought 30 was so old. I thought 30 was going to be gray hair and I was going to be walking with a cane. I thought that 30 was going to be so many things other than like what it's not, because let me tell you, I can almost put my leg behind my head. So I'm like in the best shape I have ever been in. I can keep up with my 11-year-olds. I feel healthy. I eat right. I take care of myself. So 30 is not what I thought it was going to be. Is actually better than what I thought it was going to be. Now, speaking of being old, there are just so many, I guess like, how would you word that? Like, when you're 30, when you are considered old, are there like limitations? I guess that's what I want to say. Are there limitations when you turn 30 or when you get quote unquote older? You know, like as far as attire, you know, do you have to dress appropriately? What does that even mean? Like, what does that look like to dress appropriately, you know? And I have a couple of examples for you, because J-Lo is definitely out here 52 years old and she's still dropping it like it's hot, looking amazing, on fire at the Met Gala and all of those fancy schmancy events. Beyonce is 40 years old, okay, and she's still flaunting what her mama gave her. Halle Berry is 55 years old, and my goodness, she does not look it, and I'm just hoping to the heavenly gods that I age just as well as sis, okay? But they do say black don't crack, so I'm hoping that I have that in my favor. But in the same breath, dun dun dun. Okay, so if you've been keeping up in the media, you know that Rihanna is showing out. Rihanna is holding nothing back. She is bearing all, literally. So sis has been walking around in the lingerie that like I would only be secure enough to show my man. And maybe that'll change when I do a couple more squats in the gym. But I mean, she's 34 years old, and she's pregnant, so maybe that's this is a little bit different. But minus the pregnancy, like, I'm wondering for you out there, like, would you be okay with basically leaving the house and in lingerie? Like, do you go to the club in lingerie? Because I don't. And I'm not judging, but like at 34, food for thought. Definitely food for thought. I don't think that I've ever dated a man who would be okay with that. Now, I'm also curious if status matters, because I'm not going to sit here and compare myself to Rihanna, because clearly I'm not Rihanna. Not Rihanna, okay? I don't have the Rihanna funds. I don't have the Rihanna man. I have to say, though, I have to go on record. Can we do this? A$AP Rocky is fine. No disrespect, sis. Just saying that you have good taste if you ever hear this. But I feel like this, right? So I have an 11-year-old, and I just turned 30, and I keep myself up. I'm not necessarily going to walk outside in beach wear, outside of the fact that it's Chicago and it's windy and bipolar as heck here when it comes to the weather. But outside of that, when I have a crop top on and I have leggings, like, I feel like I look good, because I worked for this, I earned this, I put my time in, I exercise, I eat right. But something in me won't let me wear that when I'm with my 11-year-old. And I feel like it's because I'm older, so like I want to conduct myself and carry myself in a way that I'm going to be viewed as like respectful. You know what I'm saying? And maybe I'm throwing in an extra variable. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I'm throwing in an extra variable because I am also someone's mother. But for the single person who is 30, is there a certain attire that you have to wear? Because at 30, are we supposed to be a role model at 30? Should we be striving to be a role model our entire life instead of waiting until we're 30? If you're tuning in, the topic of today is Dirty 30 Chronicles. Like, what is this stigma and this societal pressure and these rules and these limitations? And did you know, dating all the way back, did you know that in the Bible, actually, 30 was also a big deal? For example, Joseph, who was the 11th child of Jacob, became prime minister in Egypt. So basically, in the Bible, 30 was considered a year of major breakthrough. So when certain individuals who were destined to, okay, it wasn't just Joe Schmo, okay, that was living behind the boulder. We're certain individuals, when they turned 30, that's when they came into their reignment. Is that a word? Maybe that's not a word. That's when they were allowed to reign. Okay, so when they turned 30, they were allowed to reign, and that's dating all the way back in the Bible. So that was centuries and decades and years and such a long time ago. So, with that being said, I want to know how you feel about outside of attire. You know what I'm saying? Because when it comes to appropriateness, we're not just talking clothes. We're talking dating too. If I'm a 30-year-old woman, am I allowed to still be playing people? Like, can I still be a player from the Himalaya? Can I do that? Like, am I allowed that? Or do I have to clean my act up? Now, with that being said, I feel like you and I can agree, or maybe agree to disagree, that it's just totally different for men. And I feel that way. I feel like there is this double standard in society, and I don't want to be labeled a man basher or, oh, I favor women when I'm speaking. But the reality is I feel like when you're growing up and you're reaching that point of 30 and you're striving for 30, you know, young women are taught, you know, you get married, you bear children. These are the healthy years to bear children. And men are taught what? What are they taught? They're taught to get money. They're taught to get money. They're taught to be stable financially. They're taught to pay the bills. They're taught to everything revolving around money. Now, I will not discredit you as a good parent. So maybe you are teaching your son to hold the door open and all of those good things, but you're not telling your son, hey, you know, married by 30, you know, if some woman's going to ride in on a white horse when you turn 30, you got to have kids by 30. As a matter of fact, I feel like in my experience of dating men who were older than 30, they were just as, if not more, immature than the younger guys that I was dating. Now, that's just my personal experience, so I can't speak for you. But, yeah, that's just been my experience. It's like they didn't grow up, and I feel like it's because society does not really hold them to that dirty 30 standard. And so what is it with that? Maybe on another episode of NicNac ChitChat, which you can listen to and tune in to on Evolution Pop every Friday 12 to 1, we will discuss the gender wars. Ooh la la, the gender wars. And not really a war, I'm just kidding, I kid, but just the differences and the unique happenings that we experience just because of the gender that we were born into. Now, when it comes to appropriate, if I'm 30 years old, I wonder if society would feel like it's okay for me to go out to the club and, you know, turn up and get drunk like how a 21-year-old normally would, you know. But I do have to admit, and okay, my breakfast was not agreeing with me for a second or two, my bad. But I just want to know, like, is it okay for me to celebrate my birthday the same way that I did when I was younger, or do I have to hold myself to a higher standard? And, you know, I think it speaks volumes to say that, you know, what you have to move how you want in life, you know. So if you want to be respected or if you want to be viewed a certain way, then the actions have to line up. Like, if my man wants me to view him as a husband, then he has to act like what, okay? You're just not going to be receiving all this privilege without all of the responsibility too. But we do live in a new day and age. So again, we have J-Lo, we have Beyonce, we have Halle Berry out here, you know, working out in a bikini online, posting it on Instagram. So we do live in a new day and age. But I just, you know, growing up have always felt like I was told and kind of put under the impression that, like, you know, you kind of let go of childish things when you turn 30, you know? And, I mean, not gonna lie to you, if you do have kids by the time you're 30, it's harder because then you're like, you're trying to get your life back, your independence. So for me, I had my son, my 11-year-old son, who actually got me into broadcasting, and that's a whole nother story that we're gonna get our shovel out and dig into on another episode. But he was born when I was 18 years old. So he was conceived at 18, I had him at 18, and I really don't remember much of my younger adulthood outside of being a mom. And so I have a child. And I just feel like, you know, I'm loving the independence that I'm able to have, and I'm loving that he can fix his own peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Okay, like, I am so happy that I don't have to roll out of bed and, you know, put the wig on just to go make sure that he's okay. Like, he can do for himself, and I'm so grateful for that. But then it's like, okay, I'm 30 and I already have a child, and then does that lessen my options as a woman because I'm 30 and I have a child and I'm divorced And I don't want to be looked over because there are other 30-year-old women who do not have children. So we're going to talk about that. And I really am curious to hear your opinions on that. Now, I want you to know that I'm super active on social media. You can find me on Instagram at NicNacTalkShowHost. You can find me on Facebook. My business page is NicNac Show. That's NicNac Show. And these are the types of discussions and posts that I like to interact with you on and find out your opinion. So make sure that when you're tuning in with me every Friday 12 to 1 for NicNac ChitChat, you're also following up and adding me on my social media platforms because I want to learn more about you and how you feel about this. NicNac ChitChat on Evolution Pop. It's your girl, Nikky Nashay, your favorite host, and if I'm not yet, I will be. Welcome to NicNac ChitChat. I am so glad that you are on this roller coaster with me. Hold on to your wigs because it's only going to get better. We are talking the Dirty 30 Chronicles, or 30 and Thriving, tomato, tomato, potato, potato. However you want to slice it, dice it, roll it, cut it up. We are here and I am blessed and I'm so glad that you're tuned in. Make sure that you tune in every Friday, 12 to 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, with this 30 talk, I am also wanting to know your opinion so badly, so make sure that you're following me on social media because I'm definitely going to post more about some of the aspects that I spoke on this show. But I feel like as a 30-year-old woman, I feel like, you know, maybe when it comes to dating, my choices and options kind of decline because I know that I'm not the only one who's seeing this, but even when you tune into reality TV, when you're watching TV, you're noticing that these older men, these established men, they're going for younger women because, oh, they look hotter, and then it's resulting in like more women wanting plastic surgery, and then it's like men don't have it hard when it comes to aging. I feel like aging is not a factor for men when it comes to dating. But as for women, we have to make sure we keep it right, keep it tight. You know, we have to make sure that we're keeping up with the young bucks and making sure everything is firm. Or, you know, you could just go for a guy who's understanding of the fact that gravity is not on our side. Okay? And I just feel like that's definitely a struggle when you hit 30 as a woman. And again, we're definitely going to have another episode talking about the different struggles of the different genders. Now, let's talk about the benefits, baby. It's the benefits for me, okay? Now, there are so many benefits that come with turning 30. Yes, there's obstacles when you turn 30 and obstacles that you've had to overcome before you got to 30. But let me tell you something. This show is going to be rated PG-13, I think. Maybe rated mature. Let's be honest. I have an 11-year-old because you know what I had to do to have him. So I just want to mention that if you are scared of turning 30, baby, you don't have to be. You don't have to be. Because as you get older, you get more comfortable with yourself. You get more comfortable with your image. You get more comfortable in your skin. And you just have a better sex life. Like the boom boom room is definitely at a peak time, you know, when you turn 30. Because I feel like what kind of hinders those boom boom activities is because, you know, you're kind of worried about like how is he gonna view me when I take my clothes off? Like what if he doesn't know that when he takes me home from the club, like I'm gonna fall out of my clothes like the Pillsbury Doughboy, you know what I'm saying? Like, I gotta unbuckle this and unhash that, you know what I'm saying? So, but when I feel like me, I'm just gonna speak for me, because I can't speak for anybody else, and I don't want to, and I love when others have their own voice. I know that you have your own voice, so I won't speak for you, but as for me, I feel like I am confident in what I have to offer, because everything that I went through has gotten me to this point, and I'm just excited to be able to share that with whoever I decide to be with, you know? And I feel like I'm just so self-aware, so like I know what I'm not going to go for, I know what I'm not going to tolerate, I know that I am better than being cheated on. I don't care how much money you make, I don't care what your status is, I don't care what you do for a living, I don't care if you are the most, I don't care if you're on the face of a magazine, like you have to respect me, because I respect me, and I'm self-aware enough to know that I deserve that, and not just me, you too. You deserve that as well. And I just want to, and I love to use my broadcasting abilities to just speak that life into you. Don't you, from a day forward, moving on after listening to this very first episode that we got to share with each other, don't you dare let anyone treat you any other way than you deserve to be treated. And I feel like I think that way and move that way because of experience. Now, that's another benefit of being 30. You have that experience. You have that wisdom. Yes, you can hear he say, she say. Yes, you can be told from your parents what to do, what not to do. But when you have that experience, baby, when you are noticing because you're so self-aware of the decisions that you made that landed you in that position, and then you can prevent that because you have that knowledge upstairs, you have that wisdom, definitely a benefit. Another benefit that I'm going to hit on, and the last benefit is, child, I'm at that age where I can date the dad, I can date the son, might even be able to date the grandpa too. Okay? Like, I know that, there are some limits when it comes to the options of dating as the women tend to get older, but I have the pick of the litter, and I'm going to enjoy it and definitely weigh those options out. And I think another good episode would be, should we be dating multiple people at a time or one person at a time? And I'm so excited because I'm going to air my show NicNac ChitChat every Friday, 12 to 1. And I'm going to have guests. And you are going to love the guests. I have good quality guests lined up. And I cannot wait to have you hear their opinions on all of these fantastic and hot topics that I am bringing to you. I hope that you have enjoyed this episode. It was so much fun. I know that you and I are going to have a great time every Friday, 12 to 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, 1 to 2 Eastern Standard Time. This is NicNac ChitChat. You can only find me on Evolution Pop.